Okay. Yeah, it's fine. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I will put just a one single question of the basics of probabilities. If I roll a dice and put up in the air and ask you, what is the probability of a 6? What would be your answer? The answer would be 1 upon 6. If I ask you, what would be the probability of a number 3, the number 2, 1, 4, 5? The probability would be 1 upon 6, 1 upon 6, 1 upon 6 in every event. And if I ask you, can you absolutely let me know the exact probability, not a probability, the exact 100% assurance of the event that is going to occur? Can you let me know? It's definitely a no. You can only tell us the probability of a 6 would be only 16.67%, 1 upon 6. The probability of any certain outcome would be either 16.67% or in the fraction terms. But you cannot let us know the absolute outcome of that event. And that's my topic. Everyone has planned until they get punched in the mouth. It's a quote from Mike Tyson. I would create a hypothetical scenario and I would let you know why I have selected this topic and the explanation of this great quote. This is a story of a person, the person who is an executive and who has spent 35 years of his lives, and he's really great at planning. He's great at planning every single event of his life. In 35 years, he planned X event, Y event, Z event, A, B, C events, and that event occurred. He executed accordingly. He was a great executionist. And suddenly, one day, what happens is a heart attack. This event lets him to get into the hospital. He goes onto the bed, doctors come in, they come in rushingly, and they perform a medical procedure. Zoom, 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 zoom. They are just, what are they just doing? They are saving his life. And at this point, at this particular second, this person is thinking differently. There's suddenly one thought comes in his mind. I've been planning my life from years, and today, why things are not under my control? I had planned XYZ events in the coming future, at the age of 40, the financial freedom, at the age of 42, 43, 45, being a venture capitalist, building a own private equity firm, at the age of 45, 46, 47, I would do this A, B, C things. But suddenly, he's now thinking, what about my future? What about those events that I thought? Why things are not under my control? And that's what defines our plans. That's what defines our lives. I would like to give you a basic concept, the fundamental concept of science, the concept of quantum mechanics. There was one scientist in 20th century, a lot of scientists were studying atoms. J.J. Thomson discovered electron, a lot of other scientists who discovered protons, neutrons, the atomic, subatomic particles, how atom is made, because they were trying to understand the fundamental nature of the atom, and just because they can understand the whole universe. And now there was one scientist, his name was Heisenberg. He wanted to know the exact position of electron. He just imagined and performed experiments. Electrons revolved around the nucleus. In the nucleus there are protons and there are neutrons. And the electron revolves around the orbits. He wants to determine the exact position of electron. But that was not going to be possible. हो नहीं पा रहा था वो. Everyone was trying. Before Heisenberg, a lot of scientists tried to determine the exact position of the electron. One of the scientists was Niels Bohr. Even Einstein was also performing mathematical calculations to find the exact position of the electron. But that was not possible. And Heisenberg came up with the conclusion. He gave the own Heisenberg's uncertainty principle theory. And guess what was that theory? He said that if I want to go to the identify the position of the electron, अगर मैं इलेक्ट्रॉन को देखना चाहूँ तो वो इलेक्ट्रॉन एक जगह पे भी हो सकता है, दूसरी जगह पे हो सकता है, तीसरी जगह पे हो सकता है. It acts as a wave and it acts as a particle. So my observation, it decides whether electron would be the particle or whether electron would be the wave. And that resulted the uncertainty principle. What uncertainty principle was about? We cannot determine the absolute position, that where actually that electron is. And electron is one of the most fundamental particles of atoms. We all are made up of cells. Our cells makes up tissues, and tissues makes up human organism. We think through this mind organ, which is made up of thousands and millions of the atoms. And exactly we cannot define what exactly the position of electron is, and we conclude that the position of electron is very uncertain. Like the thing that we are made up of, that we cannot exactly determine the distance, the position of the particle, the subatomic particle with which we are made up of. There exists the uncertainty, and that what defines the life itself. The whole life starts from the uncertainty principles, the positioning of electrons. If we cannot determine the exact position of the electron, which is the subatomic particle from which we all are made, then how we can determine how certainly our life could be. And as an auditor, we cannot give absolute level of assurance because there are inherent limitations, which includes the timing constraints and other XYZ constraints. So how can we give the absolute level of assurance? Because we do not know everything. We do not perform every set of procedures due to certain constraints. And same way, this principle applies in every single thing, including our lives, from subatomic particles to the complex universes. This uncertainty principle, it's itself the example of the uncertainties of life. And with the quote, I would like to conclude that the best test of life is not in planning, but in the uncertainties. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This was Toastmaster Murli Kumar, and what a great speech, which revolved around uncertainty. It started from dice, then he took us to the hospital, and then we were trying to locate the exact position of electron, and then